All right, let's jump right in. We're looking at a brand new study today that gives us this incredible behind-the-scenes look at how graduate students are really using generative AI. And not just for any old assignment, but for their thesis, the most important work of their academic lives. And honestly, the findings might just change how you think about AI in education. So let's get to the big question, right? The one that's on everyone's mind, from professors to parents. Is AI just this high-tech plagiarism machine? Is it just a shortcut for students to cheat their way through a degree? Well, that's exactly what this study wanted to find out.
And the very first number that jumps out is just staggering. In a survey of MBA students at a top university in Japan, 95.2%, almost every single one, said they used AI while writing their thesis. And we're not talking about a few early adopters here. This is pretty much universal. The AI revolution isn't coming to campus. It's already there, folks.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. The fact that nearly everyone is using AI isn't the real headline. Nope. The real story is how they're using it, and it pretty much blows that simple cheating narrative right out of the water. Now check this out. When you look at what they actually used it for, the number one use wasn't just write this for me. Not at all. It was for understanding and organizing existing research. And right behind that, things like planning their chapter structure and getting unstuck when they hit a wall. So this is way more about shaping the thinking behind the paper, not just getting words on the page. And that really leads us to the heart of the study's findings. The students didn't see AI as some kind of ghostwriter you secretly hire. The term they used over and over was cognitive partner, a collaborator you think with. This points to a really fundamental shift in how we think about the tools we use for scholarship. And this chart just illustrates that point perfectly. Look at this. When you ask them to describe AI's role, the top answers were editor who helps organize thinking and brainstorming partner. You combine those two and you've got over 80% of students seeing AI's main job as being a thinking partner. Way down at the bottom, just a small fraction saw it as only a writing tool. Okay, so this partnership, it's not all sunshine and roses. The study actually found that students are living in this state of what they call high utility, high vigilance. What does that mean? It means they're getting massive benefits from it, but at the same time, they are super aware of the risks. It's really a tale of two experiences. On the one hand, the upsides were huge. Over 82% said AI helped them clarify their arguments and structure their thoughts. But on the other hand, look at the concerns. Over 75% were worried about the accuracy. Is this thing just making stuff up? And a ton of them were also concerned about how it was handling citations and sources. But here's the kicker. Despite all those very real concerns, look at this number. On a scale of 1 to 7, when students were asked to rate how much AI improved the quality of their final thesis, the average score was a stunning 6.27. I mean, that's huge. It tells you that for them, the incredible benefits were clearly worth the risks they had to manage. And this tension, this need for a partner that's both powerful and trustworthy, well, it's creating a demand for a whole new class of AI tools, something that goes way beyond the general-purpose chatbots we all know and use. And that brings us to the research specialized agent. Think of these as AIs that are designed from the ground up specifically for academic work. The study looked at one called GamerPat, which isn't just built to spit out text. It's built to actually help with the research process itself, helping structure arguments and pushing you to think deeper.
And the results? They're pretty compelling. When you put the specialist tool head-to-head with a general one, the students who used both had a clear preference. For the really core research tasks, like deepening their inquiry and organizing the structure of their writing, the specialist tool was the hands-down winner.
So what does this all mean for the future of education? Well, that brings us to the real takeaway here. The conversation is shifting, and it's shifting fast. It's no longer about whether we should ban AI. It's now about how we teach students to use these incredibly powerful tools wisely and ethically.
Now, this is the part I find absolutely fascinating. The study's interviews revealed that students aren't just passively accepting what the AI spits out, not at all. They're actually developing their own clever strategies for what the researchers call epistemic vigilance, basically a healthy strategic skepticism to keep the AI honest. And some of these tactics are just brilliant. Look at this. They would ask the AI adversarial questions, things like, okay, now tell me everything that's wrong with this argument. They'd get a second opinion by plugging the same prompt into a totally different AI model. And my favorite? If an AI agreed with their idea too quickly or too strongly, they treated that as a red flag to investigate more, not as a sign they were right. How smart is that? So after all this, who's the real author? The study uses this perfect analogy. Using AI for a thesis is like using a ready-made cake mix. Sure, it helps with some of the basic steps, but it's the cook's judgment, their intent, and their craft that really determine how it all turns out. The student is still the chef. They retain what the study calls cognitive ownership.
And that leaves us right here, with this final, crucial question. It seems pretty clear the days of trying to ban AI from the classroom are over. The real challenge now, the real work, is figuring out how to teach students the wisdom, the critical thinking, and the vigilance they need to turn these tools into true cognitive partners. The question is, are our educational institutions actually ready for that shift?